Breatharianism first came into my reality in a big way November 2015. I don't even remember like how it came in. I had actually heard of Breatharianism before, but I when it came in again, it was like, holy shit, this is for me. Like, pay attention. Definitely feeling that inner calling, like this is my path. So for the next 8 months, all I did and all I wanted to do was just like read everything I could about Breatharianism and watch everything I could about Breatharianism, like YouTube videos and documentaries and, you know, whatever I could get my hands on. And I was talking to people if they'd heard about it, or, you know, if they'd known somebody who was practicing this way of life. And I was just like getting out there, like, what can I find out? I need to know. And throughout this time, I definitely could feel almost like my cells changing, like my cells were preparing. Something I could tell, something that I had done before. It wasn't new. It was something familiar. I would get downloads about Breatharianism and the path of Breatharianism even before getting fully on the path. And whenever I would immerse myself in pretty much any Breatharian content, whether it be a video or something I was reading or just speaking to somebody about it, waves of energy, of like life force, of passion, of inspiration coming, you know, this way down, and life force going, you know, from the bottom up, and just like love and passion coming out of my heart, like almost every time, like it would just light me up so big and so bright. I just remember that phase. That was such a passionate time in my life. It was amazing. And in March of 2016, I did a 21-day fast just to really clean my body out and cleanse and prepare. And I had been fasting for about 6 years up until this point. So I wasn't new to fasting, usually doing like 10 to 14 day fasts, and I would do that a couple times a year at least. And I had decided to do the initiation, the Pranic transition into Breatharianism on my 30th birthday. And the numbers 6 and 3 are really significant for me. I was born like 6th month, the 3rd day, the 6th hour, the 3rd minute. I was 6 pounds, 3 ounces. My life path is 33-6. If I am in alignment, I see the number 603 everywhere all the time. If I'm out of alignment, it'll be like 602 or 604. 333 everywhere all the time. So really, you know, significant number for me of my 30th birthday. And I went to this little retreat center in the Rocky Mountains that is situated along a river, and I did it there. It was a really magical experience. I did a lot of meditating, inner work, clearing out whatever leftover belief systems I had around like needing to eat food in order to survive, clearing out like past life stuff that was coming up, and just resting, doing a lot of resting. It was really hot that weekend. It was like sweltering hot that weekend. So I was not drinking any water. And I just remember like being so dry, being like, oh, right? And I was sleeping outside, although like where I was sleeping, it was covered. It was on a big deck, but it was covered above the bed, and I had a little net around my bed. It was a really magical time. The only thing about that time was that not eating and not like, it was boring. It was a little bit boring at times. Like the day would pass by so slowly, And, I was there by myself, and you can only meditate for so long. And I'd walk around and be in, nature. I was in nature. It's like completely immersed in nature. But it was kind of boring at the same time. That's okay though. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience. And I'd been told on day 2 that the next day, everything would be activated at 3 p.m. And so the next day came, and I had been napping, and I woke up and went into this altered state and saw this big, beautiful golden light body trying to fit itself into my physical body and having a hard time doing so. And, after that point, I just felt something majorly shift. I knew it was a done deal. I knew that I had accomplished what I had set out to do, and that I had shifted into breatharianism, into the ability to access prana and be sustained. And I so completed my 72 hours, and I woke up in the middle of the night because I was barely sleeping. I had a hard time sleeping just because I didn't need to sleep. If you're not eating, you sleep a lot less. And I had gone through a lot of healing. So I think I was just using so much less energy that I needed so much less sleep. So I got up at 5 a.m. and I drove home, and it's like I was me, but I was rebirthed. I was a different version of me. And life was new. It had more vibrancy. It had more aliveness. And the aliveness is always there. The presence is always there, but it was more palpable. The first couple weeks, I was weak because I didn't go back to food. The only thing that I did was I would have a tablespoon of peanut butter. Oh my God, peanut butter there's some crazy emotional attachment that I have to peanut butter. Crunchy peanut butter. It has to be crunchy. Smooth, it doesn't work. I have to crunch it. I think there's just an association from childhood of it being a form of comfort for me, a form of pleasure, a form of nurturing. Because I remember when there was nothing I wanted to eat, there was peanut butter. If there was nothing there that appetized me, there was peanut butter. And I'd come home from school and I'd just eat and suck on that tablespoon of peanut butter. Oh, there's something there. Even energy's coming up thinking about it. Whoa. So yeah, that's the only thing I would do. And then I'd have drinks. I'd have a juice, or I'd have more of a liquidy elixir. So they're, the only thing that would really be in the elixir other than some powders would be maybe a little bit of coconut milk. So I wasn't having smoothies. I wasn't having thick stuff. The only thing was a tablespoon is peanut butter. And I might have one that day, I might not. Oh, and I was having a little bit of chocolate too. Just a little bit, not a lot at this point. And mostly in the Raw-Tella form. It's a healthy organic version of Nutella. So I'd have some of that too. And not a lot. So this was a really magical time, and I was a little bit weak for the first week and a half. But by about 2 weeks, I had gained my strength back. And I was doing hot yoga, and I feel it was doing the hot yoga that actually really helped me integrate as quickly as I did and get over the weakness. I would be in yoga and I'd be in a pose and I'd have some weakness, and then I'd hold my strength in that pose, and then all of a sudden this inner well of energy and strength would open up within me and provide me with the energy that I needed. It's the more I did that, the more my strength came back permanently. I remember I've never felt that again, since that time. I'm looking forward to feeling that again. That was something mind-blowing to me. Like, just to have that almost like an inner portal, like provide me with this energy. It was interesting. I remember being, for the first little bit, like really sensitive, like having a lot of stuff coming up, a lot of emotional stuff coming up, lay in bed at night, like feeling the prana fill my cells, but then also feeling like so much sensitivity as well, like so much energy, emotions, everything. But that actually eventually went away. Like the level of sensitivity integrated, where I got to a point where I could handle it, to the point where I allowed myself to integrate, because I didn't go all the way that I could have at that time. So about, I feel like it's about 6 weeks in, I had this incredible experience. It was a spontaneous, altered, mystical state of consciousness, and I've had these throughout my life. They're spontaneous, so I can't bring them on. It just happens, and I never know when it's going to happen. It just happens, and then, you know, it's like God speaking directly to me, or having some sort of very mystical experience. And this one was the realization of myself as completely whole unto myself. Like, we know that we are whole beings, but in this state, I was experiencing it directly. Like, that was it. Done deal, complete. I was whole. And then when I came out of this experience, and I mean, I was probably only in it like a minute, but when you're in it, even for a minute, it's like, it's more real than ordinary reality, right? It imprints your psyche in a way where like you'll never like be able to live that. Like, it's there. It's part of your being now. It's part of your makeup. It's like etched into the fabric of your being, of your energy. So when I came out of it, I started freaking out. Well, I should say my ego started freaking out. I started freaking out. I was like, I'm not ready to be whole. Like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this. Like, I'm attached to my pain. I'm attached to my stories. I'm attached to the process of healing myself. You know, if I don't need to heal myself anymore, then, you know, I've always been a healer. So, well, not always, but since 2012, it's like healing and healing work and transformational work is like my life. That's what I do. That's what I love. I'm like, I'm not ready to let that go, because I thought it meant that I had to let that go if that was the truth. I just freaked out, and I made a choice to not be whole. I decided, you know, I made that choice. Like, I chose fragmentation. I chose my ego. I chose to continue down the path of needing to heal myself, as opposed to taking the opportunity that was presented to me to move forward and in wholeness. So that happened, and then about a week or two, I started to get food cravings, like big time food cravings, for just like random stuff. Like, one of them was hot dogs, because I ate a lot of hot dogs when I was a kid. It was just like hot dogs. And I remember, because I had been a vegetarian at this point, I've spent most of my life as a vegetarian. I've had cycles where I've like cycled off of being a vegetarian to explore the realm of meat, because I could tell that in, you know, my guidance system, me, the soul, needed to not be judgmental about meat, and so it's like I needed to go into that space of like having meat and learning about other people's perspectives about meat, so that I could heal my own judgments, because I had a lot of judgments about meat. I was like a very judgmental vegetarian, or like, you know, those vegans. I wasn't vegan, but I spent some time being vegan, but I was like, meat is like, you are sick if you eat it. Like, and that's not true. That's not true. So I had to continuously go back to meat. And I was like guided, like, go find a hot dog, go find, you know, the best quality hot dog that you could eat and eat it. And I did. And I immediately went into bliss after eating it, and then went into an altered state of experience of consciousness, where I was shown that how my bliss could transmute the meat, and there was like a completion with the meat at that time. It was like I fully embraced meat with love, and therefore I didn't need to have it again. And the thing is, I did have it one more time. And when I did the second time, I had been, you know, I had integrated that experience. So there's no point in me for me to have it again. But I had such a good experience the first time that I decided to have it again. And that's when I started getting images and like energies of the animals being slaughtered, and it was sickening. It made me feel so disgusting. I only had a couple bites, and I had to go and like clear my energy for a long time to get that out of me. I just will remember how gross I felt after, you know, having that experience. It's like, no, you integrated what you need to integrate. It doesn't mean you keep eating it. It's like, this is not for you. So then I started to find that I wanted food a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And I got to a point where I was eating about 30% of what I had been eating previous to doing the initiation. So, and some days it would be like less than that. It'd be like maybe 5 or 10%, and some days it'd be 30%. So it did fluctuate, but I went up to about 30% and not anything more than that. For I'd have like some kale chips and some peanut butter. So I started to get back into these patterns, and there, you know, the attachment to food was there. And I stabilized there. So that was in mid-August where I stabilized there. I had done it beginning of June and stabilized into like food patterns of up to 30%. And that's where I stayed for the next few months. Energy didn't go down if I didn't have it. My energy didn't go up with it. And I was experiencing really incredible permanent states of being where my energy field, I could feel it. It was strong. Like I felt impervious to Wi-Fi energies, into cell phone towers. Like I felt like my energy field was so strong that it wasn't negatively impacted by those harmful energies around us all the time. I remember that. I remember like being able to actually feel that. That was really great. That's one of the benefits I'm really looking forward to moving forward. Definitely I wasn't getting sick. Like I was attracting things that were definitely like a higher quality and a reflection of me being in a higher vibration. I was in bliss a lot. Even though I was still going for the chocolate. It's like the bliss wasn't enough, let's go for more chocolate. My heart, like I remember like having experiences where I could literally feel and sense and sometimes intuitively see the light that was emanating out of my heart. Like this was just such a beautiful time I will never forget, and a time that I intend to return to and go beyond. In December of 2015, I got pregnant on purpose, and I was still doing about 30%. And I mean, I wasn't hungry. I didn't start to feel hungry again until I shut down everything. So for me, I feel my prana tube. It's my prana tube where I feel everything coming in, all of the prana. And I've been working with my prana tube like since 2009 with higher self meditations that I was exposed to through a more Kuan Yin. So I'd been working with my prana tube for quite a few years before activating Breatharianism. I just never associated it to Breatharianism, or, like I was working with it in a different way. So my pranic tube was already quite activated and connected. So it was just probably very natural for me to know that my energy and all of the nutrients and vitamins and minerals were coming through and energy through the pranic tube. And I would feel it coming in my crown and my cells absorbing it. Like I'd be laying there at night at times and I could feel the absorption of everything in like cellularly. Actually, my prana tube had become like blocked in, I think like the last week of August or something. My prana tube was blocked, and it felt like what it had felt like before I had done my Breatharian initiation. And I had, because the prana tube being open had kind of just felt supernatural and normal to me, it was such an interesting experience to go back and feel what it was like to have that not, have the prana like not be available to me. It was night and day. Like you cannot know what this experience is unless you are living it. Not having an open prana tube and having an open prana tube and being nurtured by prana like directly is completely like they're two completely different realities. So I started freaking out. It was my own belief system that did it, and I had a friend who was doing the same work that I was doing at the time, and we would always trade, and he helped me open it up. And when it opened up in session, and oh my God, I want to cry. The energy came in, like again, rushing in and absorbing into every single cell of my body. It was like euphoric. And I'm like, whoa, like this is how I'm living. It's just normal. Excuse me. So yeah, so let's go back to, I got pregnant, and around 6 weeks into my pregnancy, I think I was feeling some pressure about eating now that I was pregnant. And I had not fully integrated prana, even though when I went and had my blood tests done, and I made sure that, and I had them done in November, and I made sure that like 2 or 3 weeks before having them done, I like significantly reduced what I was eating. And I wasn't eating a balanced diet. And I had significantly reduced it about 2-3 weeks before going for my blood test, and had done some fasting, and everything was there. My blood tests were perfect. Like I was being provided for. I was experiencing health, full vitality, full health. But I had not fully let go of food. And therefore I had not integrated from level 2, which is just a partial integration, although I was being provided for, to level 3, which is like a full integration, where although you may still enjoy food and choose to eat for social reasons or to connect, with your family or whatever, you've let go of food. You've worked out the attachment to food. You're not attached to it. It's a complete and total choice when you eat. Whereas I was still attached to food. That's why I was having up to 30% and like consistently. Because I can tell like that wouldn't be my normal pattern with food, and already my patterns with food have changed. I like definitely don't eat 30% anymore unless I'm having a little bit of a binge, which I've allowed myself to have, and I'll tell you why. But up until this point, most of the time I'm like eating 5 to 10% once in a while. Not every day. I'm going 3 days a week. I've gone a little bit more, just like nothing, and then I have a trigger that, and it's peanut butter. So yeah, my blood tests were perfect. So let's fast forward back. I got pregnant 6 weeks in. I was feeling the social pressure. I didn't know at the time, but I know now that I hadn't fully integrated my prana and to be able to have a pranic pregnancy, which I had really wanted, but I knew something was off. And at the time, I had been given the message when I was meditating that this is not a prana baby. This is an earth baby. Very, very earthly person, and he does not want you to be pranic throughout your pregnancy. And I listened to that, so I started to eat again and force myself to eat. And it was really difficult. It took me at least a month because I was not hungry. I had no sensation of hunger, right? Throughout, since doing the breatharian transition, no sensation of hunger. And now I was pregnant and I had nausea and no sensation of hunger. And here I'm like being told I need to eat. I need to go back to eating. And there was a major there was a disconnect between the baby and me for, I think, until about the 3rd month. Like, my energy was so cosmic and like it was like out there, and his energy was so grounded and earthly, and we weren't coming together. I felt, and every time I'd go into session, and constantly it was like I was being told, shut your pranic tube down, shut your pranic tube down. I want to cry. I did. I shut my pranic tube down so that I could merge with my child, which was like what I needed to do. When the weekend that I had decided to start eating again, like full on, I started manifesting one major symptom where I would feel extremely, severely itchy at night. I was actually feeling it throughout the entire day, but it would reduce. But at night, right before, right when I'd lay down, I would go into like extreme itchiness. Like, it felt like little bugs biting me under my skin all over my body, like hundreds of little bugs. It was torturous. Like, I felt tortured. I felt powerless. I felt, it was really hard. And then I would have the guilt of feeling those things because I'm like, I'm transferring those energies to my child, and I did. And like, I mean, we're working all of that stuff out. It's been hard. It's been very difficult, but it's been what it's been, right? So, and it, like, in hindsight, it's like I manifested a full allergic reaction to food. That's what it was. I would eat almost anything and I'd be allergic to it, and I'd have these allergic symptoms, and it lasted throughout my entire pregnancy. It went away for a little bit. And then it came back full force after my son was born. I mean, there were some good moments throughout the pregnancy, but there was a lot of hard moments throughout the pregnancy, and as a result, he's had some pretty serious, I wouldn't say like serious or like life-threatening, because he is like a really healthy person, and you know, he's strong and he's big and he's highly intelligent, which I think is going to be detrimental to me as he continues to get older. But he's always had gut issues, and with like particularly with the main symptom of reflux, and he's had some fungal stuff too. And I know it's all energetic and, you know, pregnancy, but it was all perfect and beautiful, and we're working through it. And it's just like, since going back to eating food, like all of the bliss, all of the magic, all of the like very high vibrations and beautiful energies, and like, I mean, some of that was there for sure. The continuous experience of it, like, it was gone. You know, going back to food, it was like I went back down. I regressed what I had evolved into. It was like a dissension for me, and as a result, it was a very difficult, like, heavy karmic time where all of these energies, karmic ancestral energies, you know, maybe a lot of unresolved childhood stuff, was all playing out. And I guess like I needed to face that because I had chosen to be fragmented. I had chosen to stay unhealed and to continue down the path of not being whole. And when I redid my initiation in July of 2016 or 19, so of this year, all of that started to go away. I just immediately started to heal. And started re-accessing those states, not permanently, because I'm still up until this point unintegrated to the level 3 where I'm being told like this, almost like it's not an option if you want to move forward in your life. Like you need to integrate to level 3. If it was up to me, I'd probably wait until the new year to do it, because then I just enjoy food for a little bit longer, because I was so restricted throughout my pregnancy, throughout my pregnancy, throughout like my child who was breastfeeding until 25 months. I was so restricted in my diet, like extremely restricted. Like for 6 months, I only ate 5 things, like every single day, where I'd be so disgusted by food I didn't want to eat. I was starving all the time. And when I redid my Pranic initiation in July, the beginning of July, all of my hunger went away. Like I had been starving throughout this entire time, because my son is nursing every hour, every 90 minutes, like throughout. Like there'd be some 3-hour stretches, but that'd be pushing it, and like almost around the clock sometimes. He'd go maybe, there was a point where he started sleeping a little bit longer, like 4 or 5 hours, but he was just draining it out of me continuously. And I had been starving, and I'd done my Pranic initiation, continued nursing him the exact same amount, and was no longer hungry. That's crazy, eh? So yeah, and then I like reduced my food intake. I think I probably went down to like 20% here, 20% max, till about September. In September, I spent 2 weeks with nothing in August, and I'm still nursing here, same amount, okay? I had nothing but water and coconut water for 2 weeks in August. I'm dry fasting like pretty often, so no food, no water, still nursing. Like every 90 minutes, maybe some 3-hour stretches. And then in September, I started to drastically reduce, and I'd spend, most of my time I have nothing, but maybe just little bites here. And when I stopped nursing my son, I was still like 3 days, a week, nothing, just water, coconut water, maybe drinks of, brine pickle juice or something, because that shit's good, or jalapeno juice. When I stopped nursing him, I was like, spicy, I want to try spicy flavors. I haven't tried anything spicy for so long. So when he stopped nursing, which he was not ready for, but on a soul level he was, and so I couldn't, he kept nursing, the milk kept coming, I just had to stop. Like I was done. It was time for it to be over. He was not ready, so it was a really, really emotional time. And what I have found is like, I'll be great, I'll be doing good, I won't have anything, because I'm intending to integrate, right? And I've been told by my guides, by my higher counsel, I need 5 weeks of no food, no water, of no food, of nothing, of just water and coconut water, 5 weeks in order to fully integrate to the level 3, and to heal my dependency to food. Like it'll work itself out energetically, everything will be released, and my dependency to food will be shifted, and then I can choose food as needed. 5 weeks straight. But what's been happening is, because it's been so emotional and challenging at times. And I mean, he went through a stretch where he was like freaking out, crying on the floor in pain, like 4 or 5 times a day. We're not doing that anymore. Thank God he's not doing that anymore. But he went through that time where it was just like, I'm not eating anything. I'm trying to integrate. I'm not integrated. I'm between 2 worlds here, trying to get to the next one. Fucking having a spoon of peanut butter and I'm eating the crunchy. I want the texture of the crunchiness, right? It's like I'm eating some peanut butter and then that might lead me to have something else. Or like, I need to just drink some tomato juice because like I haven't had tomatoes in like 2 years, or like anything, you know, with tomatoes or like, and I'd pour the hot sauce in it, like the like this organic clamato juice with like hot sauce, and just drink that. And it was like, oh. So I've been working that stuff out of my system, and I really intended to just like be fully committed to my integration path about a week and a few days ago, like for a week and 3 days ago. And I have been just continuously triggered back to have that spoon of peanut butter. There's something with peanut butter that's associated with like providing me comfort, or it's like instead of feeling the emotion that I'm feeling because I'm taking care of a toddler all day, I go to the peanut butter. And I had like a major shift last night, and it's just like, Sin, like you can't integrate prana without doing breath work. When you're a breatharian, you don't need to be doing breath work in order to be a breatharian. However, I mean, it will significantly enhance your experience. However, in order to integrate to the next level breatharianism, I need to be doing breath work because I have a lot of stuff that I need to cleanse out mentally, emotionally, and physically to get to the next level so prana can integrate. I had like this, and I kind of knew that already, but it was in the back of my mind because I don't think I had really committed to letting go of food. Whereas like, I'm like, I want to let go. I want to let go. I want to go to the next level. Help me. Like, this is just an emotional issue. What do I need to be doing? So I have been struggling, even though I know I'm doing a great job at the same time, because I'm working it out, I'm figuring it out, I'm being guided, but I'm ready to go to the next level. I know I need to go to the next level. I just know I will not give up until I've integrated this, because I can't go back. I can't remain where I'm at. It's not the right space. It's not a healthy space for me. I need to keep going. I need to heal whatever is in me. I need to integrate and go to the next level and like claim, you know, my purpose and what I've already decided is my path before I even incarnated. So that is my update. That is my story up until this point. And I'm just going to keep going, and I would love to connect with you either through Facebook or through my Instagram, which I'll link both accounts in the description. And if you have any questions or comments, you know, here in the comments, please let me know. Like, I'm very open, and I would love to create conversation around this. I also invite you that if you are a skeptic and you have a closed mind, that you please just move on. I'm not open to engaging with people who are closed-minded, who are, you know, if you're a skeptic but you have an open mind, fine. If you're skeptical or you just are completely closed-minded, please move on. Those comments are not welcome here. So much love. Thank you for listening to my story. I'm going to continue to post updates, like I said, in my social media accounts and on YouTube, and I look forward to sharing more. Have a beautiful day.